Now, we will go through this poem verse by verse, stanza by stanza, and explain and analyze what Wilfred Owen has to say. First stanza reads, "Happy are men who yet before they are killed can let their veins run cool." Now he is referring to some people whom he says are happy, and they are the ones who can make themselves insensible, who can make themselves emotionless, who can make themselves stone-hearted, who can make themselves very strong before they have died. Happy are the men who just lose all the interest in life, all the interest in griefs, in joys, and do not enjoy the emotions and expressions of the life. They are happy men. Now, this happy, which Owen has used here, is basically irony, is ironical here, because a person who is immune to all such things, who is insensible in grief, he is actually not psychologically upright person. He has got some sort of sickness if he cannot enjoy the happy moments, and who cannot feel sad at a moment of grief, or at a moment of misery. If he fails to express emotions, then he is no more a stable human being. But ironically, he says that they are happy men who have learned this art of being dead emotionally before they die physically. Because what Owen is talking about, he's talking about soldiers. And since being a soldier, and a soldier who is taking part in a war, and that too in a bloody war like World War I, or in any kind of war, has to be insensible, has to be dead, has to run his veins cool before he could, without any fear, kill the human beings, can kill anyone who comes in front of him, whether it be in defense of him, or in defense of his land, or in any situation. He has to make himself a cool-blooded person, a cool-hearted person, an emotionless person, and above all, insensible. Because if he is not insensible, he cannot be happy, and the secret of the happiness of a soldier lies in him being insensible, is what Wilfred Owen begins this poem with, the argument. Whom no compassion fleers, or makes their feet sore on the alleys cobbled with their brothers. Fleers, the word that he has used here, means to make someone sad, to make someone unhappy, to make someone melancholic. He says, where no compassion fleers. There is no compassion, no emotion, no love, no affection that affects him. Even if they see at a stretch 100 corpses laying in front of them, even that will not leave, a tear in their eyes, a strong heartbeat in their heart. The soldiers who have been part of them, even when they die, they don't feel any kind of sadness, any kind of, that doesn't make their feet sore. That is, they do not stop. They do not look back, but they continue on marching forward, fighting in the battlefield. That is what insensible men do. The frontline withers. Even if tens of the soldiers die in front of them, those who were defending them, who were in the front line, even that doesn't make a difference to them. But they are troops who fade, not flowers. Those who die, those who are insensible, those who get killed in the battlefield, in the wars, nobody cares about them. Nobody remembers them. You know why? Because they are soldiers, not flowers. Now, that is again an ironical statement which Wilfred Owen is making here. He's not saying that you should forget the sacrifices of the soldiers in wars or in battlefields or in any places, but the fact is that they are forgotten. Because people think, they believe that they are soldiers and they have to die. And if they have died, a soldier has died, not a flower. So that won't be a great loss. This is how people interpret it. This is how people reflect on it. For poets, tearful fooling. These men, these soldiers, they have got no interest in what poets have to say. The tearful fooling. A poet fools people with emotions and expressions, with some sad stories, with some tragic stories, or makes someone laugh with comic stories, but they are not the stuff of soldiers, because soldiers are insensible to these things and they have to be insensible. So these poets cannot fool them, cannot fool their emotions. Men, gaps for filling. Who are they? They are not very significant men. They are not very important people, but they are for gap filling only. They are not, very significant people. This is how a soldier, Wilfred Owen, who had been the part of World War I, reflects on the life of the soldiers and how they are looked upon in the society. Losses, even if they lose, even if people lose them, even if they lose their lives, it matters hardly. Why? Who might have fought longer, but no one bothers. Even, if they stand on the border, in the battlefield, battling out for the life, and even they have received hundreds of bullets on their body, and still they make an attempt to rise and fight their enemies, and eventually they die. They are not flowers who go away. They are not human beings who die. They just die. They just move away. And no one bothers about them. No one is concerned about them. No one worries about them. That was the first stanza of the poem Insensibility. Now we are getting into the poem and we are getting the argument of Wilfred Owen. He is talking about the soldier's life. And he began this that a soldier can only be happy if he is insensible. If he has given up the side of his emotions, if he has made himself stone-hearted, because things in front of him are very difficult, are very harsh, are very tough. And if he will be full of emotions, full of expressions, full of senses, then the life would be more miserable than it really is for him. So he has to be insensible to counter all the harshness of the battlefield, whether he is in the battlefield or he is off the field. In both the cases, his life is not easy. And to make this harsh life easier upon him, he has to die emotionally before he dies physically.